Things are quite chaotic right now for me, unfortunately, you know, moving abroad and all that stuff. Any videos I post for the next little while might be slightly less edited than I would hope, just to save me time so I can post before I leave. But then hopefully after that, once I've arrived in Japan and things settle down, I can do the edits that I wish I would like to. Anyways, welcome. If you've been watching any of my previous few videos, you will know that I was accepted into the JET program, which is a program that lets people go to Japan to teach or assist in teaching English. And that is what I'm doing. I only have a few weeks until I leave, and yeah, the pressure is definitely on. There's a lot going on, a lot to plan, a lot to pay for. I just thought I would make this video as a little update about everything going on, with a slight emphasis on the apartment hunt, which is causing me the most panic right now. But let's get into it. So I believe the last time I gave an update, it was around the beginning of June. Around the end of June is when I officially got where in Japan I was being placed, and that was Tokyo. And a couple weeks ago, I did find out where exactly in Tokyo I was placed, as well as my school, which is really nice. So I don't know if this has just changed from previous years, because it seems like they sent all the Tokyo Jets their specific placements around the same time. Whereas what I was reading online was that some people didn't get their placements until 2 weeks before leaving, or even worse than that. So maybe they've updated the way that they're doing things. Another thing that I've learned is that it seems like in Tokyo, at least with public Tokyo Jets, every school gets 2 jets, so you're basically always gonna have a co-jet. And I did get the contact information for my co-jet. At first I was confused because I thought we were both brand new and we were just going there together as both being noobs, but I emailed them and they got back to me letting me know that I'm actually replacing their co-jet that left earlier in the year, I guess. My co-jet is somebody who's been there for a while already, so they have been my savior, honestly. I think all the information that I've gotten surrounding my placement and how things are gonna run, it's only because this person is doing such an amazing job of answering my emails and all my questions. I need to get like a specific gift just for this person. They have literally alleviated so much of my stress, it's crazy. So with that, I've learned a lot about how things are gonna work, and also I don't know if other places, BOEs or boards of education, are doing specific orientations or not. The Tokyo Metropolitan Board of Education has had 2 orientations so far, but my other friend who got placed somewhere else in Japan has not had any specific orientations so far. So I don't know if this is a Tokyo specific thing or not. I messed up the time zones, so I missed the first orientation, but the nice thing is they recorded the orientations and uploaded them, so I finally sat down to watch that yesterday, and that helped me a little bit. They go through things like finding apartments and budgeting and things like that. And then they had another orientation that was just like senior jets running it. Yeah, they helped a lot. That answered some of my questions. And I also discovered that Tokyo public school jets only work 16 days a month. And I thought that was wacky. So you basically get 3 days off every week, because you have your normal weekend and then 1 day off during the week. You still get paid the same, I guess, but you get an extra break, which is nice. Yeah, so it's nice to know that there are a couple benefits being a Tokyo Jet. Along with those 2 Tokyo Board of Education orientations, there was also a big jet orientation. Like wherever you did your interview, it's like some orientation there. Previously it was done in person, but this year was online, which was fine. So they told us well in advance that there would be an orientation, but I just assumed that it was going to be like a 2-hour orientation in the evening, because that's how the Tokyo ones went. And they didn't give any indication of like what time or how much of a commitment this was going to be. And then they sent an email like a week before saying that it was going to be a full 8-hour commitment, but I already had work that day. Luckily, I was able to get that shift taken, so I didn't have to worry about any issues with that, but it was just unnecessary stress. So little tip, when you get like the orientation date, like the jet orientation date, date, make sure you're not working that day, because it's probably going to be an all-day commitment. The orientation itself was good. It was pretty relaxed. There was even a part of the orientation where we all got up and did like an exercise. It was really cute watching everybody in the camera doing those little like exercises. Yeah, it was fun. And then we had a really nice dinner with all of the jets that are in my city. So we went out, ate some Japanese food, and talked for like 5 hours. They were so fun to talk to. They told me so many stories, and some of the previous jets were telling me, because I asked, one of them had been around Mount Fuji, the Mount Fuji area, and I asked her experience with huntsman spiders, and they had some nasty stories to tell me. Oh my gosh. The worst was, actually they said like, you don't have to worry about the huntsman spiders because they're big and nasty, but they're not gonna hurt you. What you have to look out for are, what was the Japanese word for them? But they're the centipedes that you find in Japan, and they told me the most horrific, disgusting, vile stories about these centipedes, and that scared me. Like stories of like them waking up in the middle of the night to this thing crawling on them. Oh my god, I was gagging the entire time. That's so sick. Anyways, I have seen these centipedes before. They told me I probably don't have to worry about it because I'm in Tokyo. However, I have seen them in Tokyo. I got an email about making sure, like correcting my katakana spelling of my name, and they had some like option. It was like a Google spreadsheet or whatever, and then they had some like options that they were thinking of like in a box, and like my middle name and my last name, especially my last name, just does not exist. I have never once in my life had a person read my last name and pronounce it correctly the first time. Literally never once. So I opened this file and I was like, let's see what they come up with. It was very entertaining to read the different iterations of how they think my last name is pronounced, but it's okay. This is just a part of my life. I don't care. Even on my graduation, I walked across the stage. My dad literally missed my name because they butchered it so bad, and I was quite emotional, so I didn't even hear my name being called. But when I got off the stage, I went to go to my parents, and my dad said that he literally missed me because like he was recording or whatever, then his hand got tired, and then he missed when I went up on stage because he literally didn't hear my name because they said it so wrong. Anyways, that's a side tangent that doesn't matter. Obviously, I put in how I wanted my name to be spelt in katakana, and then I sent it to them, and then they sent me back a thing saying like, reply yes or no if you would like to purchase a Hanko stamp when you get to Japan, and it'll have like your last name on it or whatever. I was like, cool. Hanko stamps, by the way, are basically like Japanese versions of signatures. So like instead of just like writing like your own personalized signature, you have a stamp that you like stamp things with. But I'm pretty sure they recently got rid of that as a requirement for documents, but people still use them. I don't really know. Anyways, regardless if I ever use it or not, I was like, heck yeah, I want a Hanko stamp. So I clicked yes. It's like $10 or like 1,000 yen or something. So I figured it would just be easier to get that now rather than like in the future if I wanted one suddenly or needed one suddenly. So, apartment hunting in Japan. It's been a little heartbreaking, not gonna lie. Choko, spin. Spin. Choko, spin. Come on, you know how to do this. Don't be camera shy. Good bean! Yes! Yes! Good. This is a big bag of worms to bring up, but Jet has a few options that they give you for apartment hunting. It's confusing. So they have like their main agent, I think has changed since previous years. So if you're looking at Reddit and you're just seeing horrible reviews of like the Jet agents, that's not necessarily super accurate because they did change out the company that they're using. And then I think they have 6 other agents that they do recommend if you want to explore like other agents. I haven't really looked at it too much yet. So I set myself up with them. You have to add them online. So if you don't have a Line account, now's your time to make one because you're gonna need one while you're in Japan. Line is basically their main way of messaging people. Yeah. So anyways, I added them online. They sent me a template asking me questions for my preferences, and I filled that out and sent it back to them. So it was things like, what station is your company nearby, and what part of Tokyo are you interested in living in? What's your budget? And in Japan, they have like a system for naming different types of apartments. So there's like 1R, 1K, 1DK. So it's like one room versus one kitchen versus one kitchen dining room, and so on and so forth. For me, it was really important to have a kitchen so that I can actually cook. So I said 1K or whatever. So it'd be like a bedroom and a kitchen, basically. Anyway, so I sent them all my preferences, and they were really fast at responding. I mean, like, give or take a little bit because of the time difference, but up until I sleep, like, they're very fast at replying. So I haven't had any issues with that. But I have run into a roadblock. They only sent me one option that supposedly fit my preferences, and it was okay. It was a little outdated. I'm trying to look for places that have been built after 1981 at the earliest, preferably 1995. In 1981, Japan updated all of its earthquake regulations. So a lot of places built after 1981 are a bit more robust and earthquake proof, preferably after 1995, because I also learned that using blue and brown asbestos in insulation was very, very common in Japan until it was banned in 1995. However, I do know that a lot of places just don't have insulation, but what I did was I basically just asked them, like, was this building built with blue and brown asbestos? And they just said, no, none of our companies are, or none of our buildings are, don't worry. I was like, okay, cool. But I guess the only other thing would be the year it was built, and this place was built like in the 70s or something. So anyways, other than that, it seemed fine. And then the apartment disappeared because somebody moved into it. So I lost that apartment. And then they sent me another apartment that also looks nice, but the move-in costs were nearing $4,000 and the rent itself was over $1,000. I took it upon myself to look online for apartments on my own. I asked them if I could send them listings that I found on my own from things like Gaijin Pot or Tokyo Real Estate. They told me that those companies are the ones that might be lying to you, but we recommend you look at our website. So I decided, I was like, okay, whatever. I'll just look at their website. And I found some really nice places that were in my budget and in the area that I wanted. I sent 5 listings, and I was excited because I was thinking, you know, oh my, there are places that fit within what I want. Why weren't they just sending me these to begin with? And then I found out why. So, if you watched my previous video, you would know that one of my fears moving to Japan was facing discrimination, and I'm not even there yet, and here we are. All of those 5 listings that I sent, they didn't allow foreigners to live in their apartments. I knew there was a very high chance that this would happen to me at some point. I just didn't think all 5 of them would say no. And it did catch me off guard. It's like one thing hearing other people talk about it, and then it's another like actually having it happen to you. You have no intention of like abusing this apartment or like taking advantage of landlords, and you have every thought to like follow the rules. And yet, simply because you are not Japanese, you are not allowed to live here. We are gonna deny you housing simply because you're an outsider. And that was a bit of a punch to the gut. This is one of my flaws as a person, but also I can pride myself on this at the same time to an extent, but I could not hold myself back from voicing my opinion on this. I spent a long time editing and fixing up my message so that it was, you know, professional, but like also could maybe share the other side of this. They did send me a message apologizing, and they just said like, in Japan, landlords are allowed to deny foreigners. While I appreciate how, you know, patient they've been and helpful they've been in helping me find a place that fits my needs, it also just kind of is a little disappointing to see them supporting these landlords. But at the same time, I can understand that if you denied landlords from posting on your website because of them denying foreigners, it is very possible you would not have any listings on your website, which is also a sad thought. I feel like the apartment hunt has been the hardest part of all of this so far because I've looked at so many places. My boyfriend keeps offering to look for places on like Japanese apps called like Sumo, but I feel like I've kind of just lost my drive for looking for apartments because it's like anytime I look at a listing online now, it's like, do they allow foreigners? A lot of them don't, like some of them will specifically say foreigner friendly, which is crazy, but most don't. So I don't really want to run into it again where I get denied. I think I'm too tired and too busy to be dealing with that emotional problem, okay? Like, sue me. I'm working constantly. I am preparing to move abroad. I'm saying goodbye to everyone I love and my animals, and I'm just, questioning the affordability of this move and paying student loans. Forgive me if I just don't want to be denied because I'm not Japanese, okay? So I am taking a back seat from looking at apartments, and I was looking at the budgets for things, which is the other thing I was going to talk about. Is I'm starting to make a budget plan for how this is going to go down living in Tokyo. One thing that I really, really, really wanted out of this was independence. I wanted to live in my own apartment. I didn't want to have weird rules placed on me that a lot of share houses will place on you. I didn't want to share my kitchen space with like teenagers and exchange students and stuff. I just wanted to have my own peaceful place to cook. I didn't want to have to wait for people to be done using the shower for me to use the shower. I just wanted to shower when I want to shower. However, I think a share house is unfortunately what I'm gonna have to settle on. I'm trying to think about what the financial audit guy would say right now. I feel like he would yell at me right now at the idea of moving into spending thousands of dollars just to like cook alone. I can imagine him being like, "You can't afford this. You have student loans. How are you gonna pay this? And still, like, take what you can get. Don't live beyond your means. You can't afford an apartment." It'd be something like that. And I accept that financial audit, okay? So, I don't know what I'm saying at all. I think I'm nearing the end of my update. This video is already getting longer than I wanted it to be. So yeah, I hope I've covered everything that I meant to cover. I do have an application ready to go for a share house, and we'll see how it goes. It's possible that I'll stay in the share house just as a temporary thing until I save up a little bit more money to move into an actual apartment. Or I might just stay in the share house if it works out okay. I don't know. You can't have everything that you want, unfortunately, so I think being able to have a little bit more financial freedom is slightly more important than me being able to cook eggs in the morning without people staring at me. That's all for my little update. A lot going on all at the exact same time as per usual. I do only have a few weeks left until I leave. That's crazy. That's crazy. I don't like that. There's still lots left to do, but I think after I finalize the apartment hunt, I'll feel better. And there are gonna be things like figuring out my phone situation I still have to figure out. Anyways, so I don't know how many videos I'm gonna be able to pump out before I leave. That totally depends how busy I am. I do have the last 2 weeks free, but I might prioritize hanging out with people in my last 2 weeks. We'll see. But I do want to post a video of why I'm going to Japan. I want to post a couple jet tips, like application tips, because I know application season is coming up pretty soon here. So I thought, making like 1 or 2 application tip videos would be good. And yeah, let me know if any of this was helpful. And let me know if you're also preparing for JET, how that's going. Are you more or less stressed out than I am? Are you also going to Tokyo? If so, how is that going for you? And yeah, I think that's all for my updates. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you when I see you again. Bye!